just your average everyday trucker, keeping it real. I'm your host, Chris Blodgett, and you're listening to Real Talk Tuesday. This week's topic is going to be working on your day off. This is episode 139. Hey guys, welcome back. As always, appreciate you being here. The inspiration for tonight's topic is it kind of comes from when you're supposed to be off, but then you get either a text message or a phone call from your boss. And for me, it's actually pretty. It's interesting because technically I'm off Sunday, Monday, but a lot, because I work nights and Saturdays. Literally, I'm kind of joking around with my boss, telling him that I kind of dread working Saturday nights because they don't get me loaded till like damn near 1 a.m. And so then I end up not getting back to finishing my day till like noon. Hell, I think I've gotten back at 1 or 2 in the afternoon on a couple of weekends or whatever, and that's technically a day off. So I get home, and the later I get home, I end up sleeping even less because I get home and I don't want to sleep my entire day off. As much as I want to crash and not wake up for like 12 hours, I go to sleep, might get like 3 or 4 hours of sleep, just enough to function, and then I get back up. Because a lot of times there's weekends where we actually have stuff scheduled on Sundays. Either things like going to the mall or something for like my youngest's birthday. She that was one thing she wanted to do. She wanted to go to the mall. Or one weekend it was the anniversary dinner for me and my wife, our 18th wedding anniversary. Had a reservation at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, and so that was at like 6:30 p.m. on a Sunday, and I'm trying to remember when how late I got home that day, because it was pretty late. I think I finally got home like 2:30 because I made it back to the hub by like 1:30, 1:40, something like that. I got home by like 2:30. I grabbed something quick on the way home just because I wanted to basically get home, because I knew we had to. We had that reservation that night, so I was like basically like, all right, I gotta get home, get to bed, get a couple hours sleep so that we could go do our reservation or whatever, celebrate our anniversary. And so I think I crashed at like 2:30, 2:45, and I set my alarm for like 2:50 or like 5:50, 5:55, something like that. So I was like, gave myself at least 3 hours, and I'd take sleep meds to help me sleep because I have like really really bad sleep apnea. So I use the CPAP, but you know, even without, like, if I don't take anything to fully knock myself out, I'm like, I'll sleep for like an hour, and I'll wake up. You know, I'll go into dream state where you're, you know, the REM, and I'll wake up after about an hour, and I'll feel I'll feel like I slept 7 hours. Like I'll wake up and I'll feel rested, be like, oh wow, okay, you know, it's got to be close to time to wake up. And I'll look at my watch, and it's only been like an hour, hour 10, hour 15, something like that. I'm like, holy crap, it's only been an hour. Crap. So then I'll try to go back to sleep, but then because I woke up from such a deep sleep, I end up it takes me about 30 minutes or whatever to fall back asleep again. And so I basically just try to do the best I can, and it's like, so I have to take some sleep meds to literally like help me stay asleep. And I'm kind of, it's one of those where you kind of like, you see what works, you kind of trial and error, you know. So like for a while it was Unisom sleep gels and like melatonin gummies, but then I got to a point where for whatever reason, even though I was taking that combo, I would wake up every couple hours, and of course my wife was like, well, apparently, you know, it's possible that you could actually have a tolerance to melatonin. And I'm like, well, that sucks. I was like, because if I don't use those, I have trouble sleeping, whatever. So then she had these little ashwagandha or something sleep gummies that weren't necessarily melatonin. They had a couple other herbs that were supposed to like help you, you know, de-stress and relax. So I was doing those with my Unisom for a while, and it was like, and it worked, you know. But I think now I kind of rotate between those with Unisom and these Z-Quil gummies that have the 3-in-1. They got like ashwagandha and a couple of things, but they're not. I think they have a little bit of melatonin, but otherwise it's basically like a bunch of other things that are supposed to help you like de-stress, relax, and help you sleep. So I take those kind of as a 1-2 punch with the Unisom sleep gels or whatever. So it's like I do, you know, it works. I sleep pretty good most nights. But Sundays when I like, especially lately, the past like couple months, if I end up working late, I get, you know, sleep for a couple hours, get up. Like usually I'll stop on my way home to grab the things that I need to grab, you know, or you know, because I do indulge a little bit in my adult beverages or whatever on my weekends. But since I don't want to usually get up at night and leave the house or leave the apartment to go take care of stuff, I'll swing through and grab those on my way home. Put everything in the fridge so it's cold later on when I'm actually getting back up and being, you know, off for those 2 nights or whatever. But grab those and go to sleep, and then hang out with the fam that night or whatever. You know, until they go, because they all crash pretty early, but I'll stay up, you know, 3 or 4 or whatever in the morning, try to keep similar schedule. Since I work nights or whatever, I try not to. I'll go to bed earlier if I really don't get much sleep at all. Like if I get like 2 hours before having to get up and take care of stuff, then usually I'll probably crash by 1 or 2 in the morning, Monday mornings, because I'm like, all right, I'm dragging, you know. But then Mondays usually, that's basically what I look at, is it's literally my full day off. It's kind of me recovering from Sunday a little bit before going back to work Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, whatever. And like going behind this truck that is going really slow, and I go to get over to pass it, he puts a signal on like he's gonna get out in front of me, and I'm like, what are you doing, man? I was like, come on, dude. Oh, okay. And then they speed up when you go to pass him, so it's like, all right, I'll just stay behind you, you know. But so yeah, Monday is typically a full day, literally a full day off. You know, indulge in my adult beverages again that night or whatever. Hang out with the fam, chill out, chillax, whatever, de-stress. It's funny, literally I'm behind this truck that's going like 50 miles an hour in a 65, and of course I got a bunch of vehicles passing. It's like, oh, and he keeps braking. You know, there's like, dude, there's nobody in front of you. Why are you braking? Like, why are you going so slow? Come on now. I can't pass you because everybody's passing us. And randomly, every so often, he like his left turn signal flashes. Like, and I'm like, now he's braking again. There's nobody in front. I'm like, I think this. I don't know if this this trucker is like tired. You know, it's like, hey man, maybe you need to pull over and take a nap. You know, no judgment. You know, I've been there. I'll get past him in a little bit, obviously, whenever the lane beside us clears up, because there's a bunch of vehicles passing us. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just waiting. I'll hang on. Oh, well, I'm not in any big rush. I'm loaded out of East Chat on my way back towards Nashville and stuff. So they took forever. Well, to kind of backtrack a little bit, but so Mondays are usually my full day, you know. But I think I didn't wake up until damn near like we had an appointment at 4 for our oldest cat or whatever, because I got her in there to because she's like 12 or whatever, and we're trying to be proactive because our two previous we had, you know, the two previous older cats or whatever. Yeah, I don't know what that guy's doing, because literally I started to pass him and he put his left turn signal on again, and I'm like, there's nobody in front of you, there's nobody off the shoulder, like, what are you doing? like are you like half asleep? Like, what's going on? Like, you're slowing down, you're flashing your left turn signal when there's nobody. And then you got the AI camera that when you're actually going the speed limit or whatever, and it's like, slow down. I'm like, I'm not speeding. It's like, fun times. But AI camera thinking it knows better. Slow down. No. So yeah, we had that appointment with my like kind of a follow-up with our oldest cat, because we have 3 cats. The oldest cat is like 12, and the previous because when she was the youngest cat, and we had Ginger and Coconut. Ginger was our oldest cat. Coconut was our middle child cat. Because yes, I refer to our pets as fur kiddos. They're like kids, you know. It's like when we're talking to them, it's like, you know how it is. I don't know if you're for those of you out there that are animal parents, pet parents, you know, probably speak for your dog or your cat, you know, like in a voice that you anticipate, you know, kind of making it sound like instead of talking like, oh, you want a treat? Yes, Dad. Yes, Mother, I want a treat. Give me some chicken. When thinking about it, of course, the cats and the dogs probably look at us like, I don't even sound like that. You humans are freaking weird. But so the previous older cats that we had both had spontaneous health issues that when we realized what was going on, we really couldn't do anything about it because we didn't have the money to get them into like an emergency vet or whatever. And so of course they passed or whatever. Like Ginger was a little bit slower. She deteriorated within like 2 days, and all of a sudden was laying around, and we couldn't get her in anywhere. And then of course she passed in the night. I had to work the next day, so that was pretty rough. Because she'd been with us, she was like 10, like 9 or 10 at that point. But we think it was like, she had like an organ failure, like liver or something. And then the next oldest cat, Coconut, she was always our biggest cat. Like she went from, like she was always like, she wasn't necessarily like a huge eater. Like she wasn't necessarily like sitting at the food bowl all the time eating. Like she ate probably as much as the other cats, but she was just a little bit bigger. She was a little more heavy set. Like the entire time we've had her. And during the 1.5 to 2 year period where my oldest daughter, she left home, and we were not in contact with her when she was gone, because Coconut was kind of like, Allie was technically Coconut's human. Like she was the one that she hung out with most. She didn't really like me too much, because we think one of her previous, when we rescued her, we think there was like probably a young boy or something, like a young kid that happened to be male that like abused her or something, like hit her or whatever, because her mouth, you could tell there was a little bit, like there was a little bit of a, it was not quite like her jaw was kind of like misaligned a little bit. So we don't know what happened to her, but like she and I got along pretty good. Like I could pick her up or whatever, but she, she didn't growl or hiss at me or anything. But she just like, I would come in the room and she would bolt. So she was like a little bit afraid of guys. So I did what I could to love on her or whatever, But when Allie left, Coconut seemed to take it a little bit harder. She was depressed for a little bit. Like, where'd my human go, And then it got after like a year or so, all of a sudden, like I noticed, I went to pick Coconut up, and I damn near, I felt like, because she was always heavy enough that when you picked her up, you felt it, because of how heavy she was. It was one of those, whoa, okay, all right, yeah, big girl, all right. I went to pick her up, and the way I explained it, when I told others about her, is I said, well, man, when I picked her up, I felt like I damn near almost threw her over my shoulder by accident because of how light she was all of a sudden. She still looked big. That was weird. That was the weird thing. Like, she still looked really big. Still had the same size visually, but when I went to pick her up, she was like light as hell or whatever, and I'm like, uh-oh, like what's going on with you? Like, why are you? Because it was real quick. It's like the weight loss was like really, really, really fast, probably within like 2 months or less. Like all of a sudden she was, and so it came to a point where I was like, she kept losing weight. She looked fine, but she wouldn't really eat much. And so it was like, they have this membership, this pet emergency fund membership. If you kind of, I'll tell you guys about it a little bit, because that way, hey, if you can help others potentially save the lives of their fur kiddos or whatever, if something happens, hey, it's worth it, And I'm not making anything on it, but there's this, it's called PAWP. If you look it up, I think it's actually like, it's an app, but you can also access online via a website. It's like, I think it's like pawp.com or something. And it's basically a $3,000 pet emergency fund. And it's basically like you can use it up to one time in a 12-month period for one pet. And if something happens, all of a sudden you have to get him in there to seek emergency services. You get on you access your account, you get on a video call with one of their kind of like their tele-vets, kind of like a vet, kind of like a teledoc for veterinarian, that you would actually get on a video call with them and kind of just they kind of ask you a bunch of questions, and they visually look at the animal, like, hey, show me her gums, like her teeth, whatever, see if her gums are yellow, because I guess that's a sign of liver failure or whatever. So, but I went ahead because we learned about that when we lost Ginger, and it was. But the problem was they have like it's like a 2-week grace period. So you gotta, as long as you're, and you have to have an active account. Like if you miss a payment or whatever in your account, like it gets shut down. You'd have to start it up again and go through the 2-week grace period again. So couldn't do anything with Ginger Pass because we literally didn't have the money to take her to her emergency vet. Even though I called multiple places to be like, can we get her in there? Can you bill us? Like, can we get her seen and you guys can send us a bill and we'll get it paid? It's just right now I don't have however much it's gonna cost just to get her seen and find out what's going, if there's anything we can do for her. They're like, no, unfortunately we need the payment up front, whatever. Like, well, that really sucks. So with Coco, knowing that there was something going on, but we didn't know what it was because we just knew that she was losing, that she lost weight really quick and was, so we, I was like, all right, well, let me go ahead and, we got to get her seen, and we didn't have the money for a full-on vet visit, so it's like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and sign up again with the PAWP, and go through the 2-week grace period, and, not grace period, but 2-week, I don't know, basically a grace period, but like you had 2 weeks, you had to, until your benefits were active, pretty much. And I was like, because she was continuing to get lighter during those 2 weeks, and we got to, I think we had 4 days left on the 14 days. It's like 3 or 4 days left on the 14-day waiting period, and all of a sudden, like, I left for work one day, and, like, my youngest basically, picked up Coconut, was carrying her around the house, or around the apartment or whatever, and, Coconut, even though she was light, she seemed okay, so I was like, alright, she's probably fine, whatever, but then by the time I came home, when I was on my way home that night, my wife called and basically said Coconut was dying. That she was laying on the couch, she wasn't really moving very much, she was like jerking, kind of, like spazzing or whatever, like spasming or whatever, and I was like, fuck, alright, so I was like, well, get on a video call with the televet and ask her, see if they, what they say or whatever, and so she got on there with them, and they basically, like, her gums were yellow, they said that's a sign of, like, her liver was failing. I got home, she was still technically around, so I held her, sat there with her, basically just holding her or whatever, and petting her, and basically just, all you can do, even though, like, when you got a fur kiddo that, that was the same thing with Ginger. When Ginger passed, she had this stuffed turtle, like a plush turtle that she liked to lay on or whatever, and, so when Ginger passed, we literally had her, like, I had her wrapped up in a blanket to keep her warm, and I got home from work and basically just sat there holding her, basically, like, trying to be strong or whatever, you like, I understand if you, like, if you have to go, you have to go, like, we'll miss you, blah, 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 crying my eyes out, of course. And then be like, I don't want to put you down, but it was like 3 a.m. at that point. I was like, I have to get to bed because I have to work tomorrow. Like, it sucks. Like, it was one of those things where I had a feeling that, when I put her down, that basically that was the last time I was going to see Ginger alive. So, and it was. Our youngest woke us up the next morning, like, something's wrong with Ginger, and it was like, fuck. Basically, it looked like she was kind of stiff at that point, so I think she passed like within a couple hours after. I laid her back on her, told her I loved her, told her, like, maybe we'd see her again someday or whatever, but just to watch us from the Rainbow Bridge and all that fun stuff. And laid her back down, and so Coconut, though, when it came home 3 or 4 days prior to actually being able to get her in for emergency vet visit. Sat there with her, basically the same thing, love you, Coco, it's like, so sorry. I wish we could do more, blah, 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 you know, until you realize you're like, I don't think she's breathing, I think she's gone, you know, but sorry, kind of got a little detoured on this topic. I'm not sure where so let's go back to where, okay, I know where I was, yeah, so the reason for kind of the detour on that was our now oldest cat that was the youngest cat, but now we have her as the oldest cat, and then, you know, when we lost each of the other ones, within a couple weeks, we of course went out, rescued, we ended up going to either Humane Society or PetSmart or something, and, you know, basically found a young cat that needed a home, and, you know, basically found their successor. And it's funny because, you know, me and my wife kind of joke around that whenever we adopted a cat after losing one, we feel like we're almost guided to that next fur kiddo, like, you know, by the one that we lost. It's like we're guided to the one that was going to come in. And nobody, obviously, like nothing or nobody could ever replace, you know, a member of your family, whether it's you know, a fur kiddo or an actual like human member. Like nobody can be replaced, you know. But it's interesting. We've always joked about like it feels like we're guided whenever we found the next fur kiddo to rescue, because when we lost Ginger, we adopted our all black cat, Beaks, and it was in October, and so of course, like, her official name for my wife, I just call her Beaks, but her official name, you know, Aaron's like October Beans, and I'm like, that's interesting, but all right, you know. So when we get her into the vet, literally Aaron, she gives them her full name. So basically, when they call, they're like, "Yeah, is October here?" And we're like, "Oh, October." That throws me off because I'm like, "October? Oh, okay." You put October Beans for her full name. Okay. I just put Beans if it's me scheduling the appointment. But it's funny because Binks has qualities similar to what Ginger had. You know, she reminds us a lot of Ginger. And when Coconut passed, now we have our gray cat that kind of looks like a tabby, but I guess because of her coloring, I guess she's a 40. And she's interesting, you know, she's very loving, very sweet, but obviously some stuff happened. We don't know how she was traumatized before we got her, because you can tell, like, she's really, really sweet, really, really open and inviting up in the, when we're upstairs in the bedroom, like, she'll get up on the bed, meow, and want attention, but then downstairs is like, she'll lay near you, but if you go to approach her, like, I can approach her a little bit if I approach her slowly, and then I, like, you know, I'll just very casually slowly bend down, like, can I pet you? And, you know, I'll pet her a little bit, you know. But most people, like my wife or my kids, try to approach her downstairs, she immediately bolts back upstairs. She's like, I'll be present, but I do not want you to try to pick me up. But once you pick her up, she's cool. Like, she'll purr or whatever. She's like, see, you know, you're fine. Like, nobody's gonna hurt you. But I commented to the wife earlier, I said, you know, that's Sage. Or, you know, my wife, the name of her is Mystic Sage. But we just call her Sage. But I was like, you know what's funny? And my wife said, what? Like, Sage reminds me a lot of Coco. Like, some of the qualities that I see in her. And I was like, she goes, yeah, it's interesting because, you know, it's just like Beaks reminds us a lot of Ginger. She goes, it's almost like the previous fur kiddo guided us to the next one. And I'm like, yeah, it's weird the way that works out. But, so basically, to tie that in, to make a point, because I'm making a point here. I know it just sounds like I'm rambling, but I'm not, you know, I promise. But after losing Coco, now I'm trying like hell to make sure that we're not, like, caught off guard. You know, trying to be proactive and preventive. It's like when for those of you truckers out there, you know, like myself, you take your truck in, I guess, or your personal vehicle. your work truck or your personal vehicle, you take it in there into the shop. You know, you have them do the oil changes. You have them, you know, if your tires replaced, filters, grease your fifth wheel, or you know, like for your personal car, you know, maybe like doing a coolant flush, you know, stuff to basically make your car last longer, you know, to keep it around for a long time, because nowadays cars are freaking expensive. So if you pay it off and you can just pay to maintain it, it's a lot better. It's cheaper to put, especially if, you know, nowadays, hell, even putting a couple grand into a car still almost makes more sense than getting rid of it and going to buy a new one, because like, oh, it's a clunker, just get, you know, that's, you know, put it out to pasture, you know, a couple grand into that car, it's not worth it, it's not worth that much. But yeah, but I'd rather put a couple grand into even a car that's a little bit older than we have around, and basically keep that car, because, you know, especially if you've had the car for a while and it's never been a problem, you know, like it's never had to go in the shop as a breakdown or whatever. I would rather keep putting money into a car that's definitely not a lemon and keep it around than, well, let's go buy another $40,000 car. It's like we have the one car in storage that literally got vandalized, so it's like that's the only reason why it's not being driven. But we also have a title loan on it technically, so like $2,000 or whatever. But it's a good car. My wife drove it for a while, and then I commuted with it to FedEx for quite a while, probably about a year and a half before I got my Ram. And again, never had any problem with it. Never broke down. Never had to really fix anything major on it. So, but when it got vandalized, it got 2 tires slashed, got the windshield and 2 windows broken. And so, when I mentioned that to my mother-in-law, she was, oh, no, it's too much work, just get rid of the car. Like, I'm like, no. I was like, well, one, we can, because we have a title loan on it, like, we're paying down that loan. And 2, I would rather, even if it's going to cost me $2,000 or something to fix it up and get it running again, I would rather do that and have that car as a spare car for a while, instead of just, well, let's just get rid of it, you know. Because, hey, you know, you put one of your regular cars in the shop, you might need it's nice to have a backup that, like, if my wife's car goes in the shop and she doesn't want to drive the Mazda, she can drive my Ram, and I'll drive the Mazda, because I like it. It's a nice car, you know. Kind of like it's like a small minivan kind of Mazda 5. I don't know if anybody out there is familiar with them, but it's nice to have, because, like, you know, it takes out that stress of, like, well, crap, I gotta go rent a car or Uber to work for a week or whatever while my car's in the shop, you know. So, but I'm trying to be proactive and not get caught off guard again, you know, when it comes to, like, cat health, you know. So, about a month, it's probably been about 3 or 4 weeks, I had an appointment scheduled with the vet to get our oldest cat, Truffles, get her in there, go ahead and do blood work, and get a checkup, make sure she's got a clean bill of health, whatever. So that way, if there's anything that they find, you know, when they do the blood work, then, you know, we can hopefully catch it early so we can treat it, and hopefully, you know, she's already lived longer than the last 2 cats, because they died, I think, when they were like 10, and Truffles is like 12 now. But she's still doing pretty good. So we're like, yep, Truffles, you can't die. You gotta live until you're 35. So got her in about a month ago, got blood work done, and got her full checkup, her rabies shots and whatnot. And they wanted her to come back in like 3 or 4 weeks to get a booster, you know, get a booster shot, I guess, a second round of whatever she got a month ago, whatever. So we're like, all right, cool, you know. So we had that scheduled for today, or technically yesterday, Monday, since at the moment it's like 3:30 in the morning on a Tuesday, technically. Technically, I should be sitting at home. Watching Netflix, enjoying my drinks, but nope. I get so back to the topic at hand. Well, kind of close out with the cat talk or whatever. You just try to be proactive with her. I figured getting her in there, getting her seen, and making sure that we're not just not having, because most of the time it's not that we wouldn't take cats to the vet. It's just that if we're living paycheck to paycheck, because losing days out here or whatever, or running loads that aren't really that many miles. The paychecks might not be that great, and so then it ends up being a question of being able to afford the vet visit, So, but trying to do better now, So, especially with the older ones, get the oldest cat in there, and then of course Beaks is the next oldest, even though she's not that old. She's probably like 5 or 6, maybe, possibly. I lose track of the ages when we've had them for so long. I'm like, when did we get them? So when I got up this afternoon, because I realized, oh crap, it's like 3:15. Got the vet visit at 4. So I went ahead and got up, and of course, like just before 4 o'clock, I had a text message from my boss, basically being like, "I need you in tonight," and I was like, fuck. We didn't respond back until after the vet visit. We got her booster, and they, gave us some stuff to help clean her ears. Showed us what to do. Putting the drops in her ears and squishing it around, and then getting her to shake her head or whatever, and then basically using some gauze to basically wipe out the outside or whatever. Said like, yeah, you gotta do this once every 24 hours for like 7 days. We're like, all right, cool. And they recommended, they're like, yeah, we really recommend like a teeth cleaning, but we're like, well, we're gonna have to schedule that. So I think when we finally got back home after that vet visit, when she got her booster and got her ears cleaned, the first round of her ears cleaning, I guess, and we got the cleaning solution and the gauze, whatever, at home. At home, I finally texted my boss back because, of course, my oldest daughter, today is officially her birthday, and I was, really hoping to not, like, when I saw that message, I was telling my daughter yesterday, I was like, I'm gonna try to use you, Allie, as a reason why I really don't want to commit tonight, because it's your birthday. I don't want to work today. I want to be here. But when it came down to it, I was trying to text my boss. I was like, a few things. I was like, Monday is literally my only full day off. It's kind of recovering from Sunday. And 2, I still have the online training videos that we have to do every month. Have to do by the end of the month, otherwise we get suspended for a couple days. And after 4 days, I guess, we get terminated. I've only slipped, I think, 1 month out of after the 2 years that I've been here, I think. Pretty sure I've been here 2 years now. A little over 2 years. Time kind of blends together, but I always try to make a mental note, like, especially if I put them off too late in the end of the month, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm coming up on the last few days of the month. I gotta get this done, whatever. So I was planning to do that Monday night, along with other stuff, keep being proactive on the episodes and stuff, get stuff recorded, get a story written, get things planned ahead, so that way I don't just fall behind again. So I'm trying not to do that, because once I start to fall behind, I kind of tend to have trouble getting back on track again, just because mentally I end up struggling to get motivated to actually put forth the effort, do the work, whatever, if I've already slacked, and basically like that, then it's harder to get back going again. So I've got momentum again, and I'm trying to keep that momentum. So being that plus I usually do laundry Monday nights, but since I had to work, I didn't get a chance to technically do laundry, so I'm going to try to do that this afternoon, after I wake up or whatever, so that way I'll be planning for the week. Plus I was like, I tried to argue about, like, I don't reset my hours until like 11 o'clock. I really really don't want to come in before that because if I work a full week, I might run out of hours. Oh, you're like 55, 60 hours. You should be fine. I'm like, okay. I was like, if I run a full week and I run out of hours and can't work, then that's on you. You know, because literally having me come in 2 hours before I was going to reset my 34 or so. But I tried to argue with him a little bit, you know, and he's like, well, like I know you've been losing hours because you can't work Sunday, Monday. And I was like, well, I can't switch to being off Saturday and Sunday because usually when I schedule my appointments, whenever I go to the VA or whatever, I was like, they don't operate on the weekends, I don't think. And so if I have to do an appointment, usually I have to schedule on a weekday, and I don't want to, it's hard to schedule it on a day I'm working, you know, because that basically then you're more tired at work because you had to go to an appointment early afternoon and then still work that night or whatever. And especially if it's a medical appointment, you might be in there for a couple hours, and then you get home and you're exhausted because you just spent, you know, 2 or 3 hours, probably like 3 hours at the freaking hospital, or not the hospital, either the hospital or the clinic or wherever you do your appointment. And you get home and you're like, well, I'd love to go take a nap, but I can't because I got to go to work in like an hour and a half. So it's like, crap, that sucks. So, but I told him that, yeah, the VA, you know, I don't think they operate on the weekends, so I have to schedule appointments on my Monday off. And he was, oh, it makes sense. I got you. And so he's like, yeah, well, I figure this way you'll, you know, because you might still lose a day this week. You know, because things have just been a little slower with FedEx. And so if you run tonight, you know, if you lose a day this week, this day tonight will actually help make up for it a little bit. I'm like, all right. You know. I was like, I really don't want to come in, but obviously, you know, there's not much we can do about it. Like, obviously, you're expressing that you really need me to come in and run this load tonight. He goes, well, that's why I'm going to put you on the East chat run without doing the airport run to Clarksville afterwards. Just the chat run tonight. And that way, it's a fairly short run. You get back pretty early or whatever, so it's, you know, you get the miles, but then you get done in a decent time. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do it since it is an easy run. You know, not a lot of miles, probably like 300 miles, possibly. You know, round trip or whatever. So usually it's like they try to, you know, my boss tries to get us at least 400 plus if he can. But some nights, you know, you're lucky to get 300. Doesn't make for a big paycheck if you have a whole week like that. But one or 2 days of the week, hitting 300, not that big of a deal. You know. So I was like, all right, so what, I have to be there by 9 o'clock, I guess, tonight? He's like, yes, sir. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll do it. By the time I left home, I was really wanting to go upstairs and lay down, but I had to leave in like 20 minutes, so I think I laid down for like 10 minutes. Just kind of like laid down, closed my eyes, didn't go to sleep. But lay down and just tried to relax for 10 minutes, and then got up, you know, because I knew I was going to run a little bit late, because I also had to put some gas in my Ram. And I was planning to do that technically Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon. Because I was down there near empty or whatever. You know, where you get down low enough in your vehicle where you switch over to the how many miles till empty. So I was that low where I was on the line. But since I have a 2018, it's pretty accurate, you know, so I switch it over to on the menu showing how many miles till empty. And like, I've gotten it down there as far as where it gets below 10 miles. You know, where it gets lower than the 10 miles till empty, and after that point, it literally just says low fuel. It doesn't show you mileage anymore. So you probably have like maybe a gallon, maybe half a gallon of gas in your truck at that point. So by that point, I'm like, you know, gripping the wheel like white knuckle when I'm deliberately driving to the gas station to, you know, hoping that I don't run out of gas like within a half a mile of the gas station. Hell, when we were coming back from when me and my youngest, when we went to Oklahoma to pick up my grandfather's Buick. Apologies, get a little bit of an itch in my throat, but when you get a little tickle and you can't, you're like, oh, I don't want to cough, oh fuck. So, like, crap. And then once you cough, then sometimes you gotta keep coughing, you know, so like, oh man. So when we went out to Oklahoma to go get that 1995 Buick Park Avenue, my parents kind of ended up with that car when my grandfather passed. And then they had it like for a while. They fixed it up a little bit. You know, my younger sisters both drove it. Like my younger sister Jessie drove it. I don't know if my younger sister Mindy, she's the one that's just younger than me, and then you know, after her, and then it's Jessie, and then it's Maddie. So I don't know if Mindy drove it. She might have, but I know Jessie drove it through high school and through college, I think. And then Maddie drove it in high school, and then of course when my mom, I think, got a, you know, when she upgraded her car and got a new car, her other car, basically Maddie, then got, so that nobody was driving the Buick, and so they were offered it to me for a while, for like a couple years, and I hadn't gotten around to getting out there or whatever, and I finally invested at one point. Basically was like, hey mom, do you guys still have the Buick? Because like, I was like, Zoe, you know, she's getting up there to driving age, and, you know, like, we would totally take the car if you're still willing to give it to us, whatever. She was like, yeah, we got it, we totally give it to you, whatever. And so when we drove out there to get it, we put it up on a U-Haul trailer for me to just tow it back with the truck. Initially, it was gonna be, the plan was to fly out there, and then you know, get like an Uber or something from Oklahoma City out to my parents, stay with them for a couple days, and then drive the Buick back. But then I kind of worried because I know it's 95, and I know it's good, you know, especially for like local. And I'm sure it would have made the trip just fine because it runs pretty good, but it's an older car, and I didn't want to risk it. So I basically, instead of flying out there, I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna rent a U-Haul trailer for a car and just drive out there with the Ram. Especially because I wanted to bring my youngest with me. So it's like, I figured it made more sense financially to just drive out there with the Ram, towing a car trailer, and bring the Buick back on the car trailer that way. And that way we'd be paying for like flights for the two of us, you know, worrying about getting stranded in the car on the way home. It's an 800-mile trip between where my parents live and you know, Nashville, whatever. So it's like, but we got like, I think we were a couple hours outside of I think we're like 200 miles away from Nashville when we stopped at one of the gas stops, I guess. And by that point, because I had missed one of them, I was planning to stop at a Pilot, but then, you know, for whatever reason, I think I passed the exit. I didn't realize it until I was like, we're supposed to see a Pilot pretty soon. What's going on? Like, where was that fuel stop? But then I didn't see it. I'm like, well, crap. I was like, well, there's a Love's in like another 50 miles. And I was looking at the mileage still empty because the gas gauge was getting down there. It was less than a quarter tank at that point. It said that we had another, like, it said we had like 65. It was like 65 miles still empty or whatever. I was like, all right, well, it says 50 miles to Love's. We should be fine. And then by the time we got to where Love's was, because I even passed Love's, and then I had to get off at an exit and do a big square to get back to take a back road. You know how it is. When you get off an exit, you go down, you take a left, you go down that way a little bit, take another left, and then come up the street where your truck stop you're trying to find, or the gas station or whatever. And by the time we got there, I think we got like 2 miles away from Love's, and it got below 10 miles till empty. And so literally that was a personal experience with that. That's how I kind of know. Where it literally said low fuel. I'm like, oh crap. I was like, so like it's not even showing mileage now. Like, I hope we don't run out of gas before we get in there. And we pulled into Love's and pulled right up to the pump. And I put it in park and went, woo, thank God. So sorry about the little bit of the rant there, but you know, when you get going on a story, you know, suddenly you're like, all right, where was I going with that? Like, why was I talking about? But so us back to what we were talking about before. So, trying to tell the boss, you know, like, I really don't want to go in tonight, you know, and but he kind of just, you know, he kept pushing. Oh no, I really need you tonight. I'm like, crap. All right, well I guess I'll go in. Thankfully, when I got up to East Chat, they usually get us loaded by 3. I think I got there at like 2:15, 2:20. So it was like 2:30, I think, by the time I finally got, you know, the dolly in front of the rear trailer, and got parked in front of the front one, and they didn't, you know, they got us loaded pretty late. It was probably like 3:15, 3:20 when they got us. So basically, I kind of, while I was waiting, I went ahead and went on to the online account where we watch our safety videos. Then we have to do a little quiz afterwards. As long as you pass all the quizzes, then you're good. You know, then everything in the assigned section kind of disappears. So then that shows, all right, you're good till after the first. Then you get notified about, hey, you have new training videos. Okay. So one of the videos was freaking like 10 minutes long, which normally the videos are really short, like 2 or 3 minutes. So I was like, 10 minutes, holy crap. The next one was 9. I'm like, crap, man, these are gonna take forever. So I got through both of those, and then I was working on there was like 4 training videos that I had to do. The third one, when I started it, it was like 3 minutes long, 3.5. I was like, all right, it's not bad. And that's when everything showed that the trailers were closed off. So I was like, oh, cool, they're done. All right. But usually in East Chat, I try, because they have trailers parked across me, I try to, like, I don't want to block. I like to be able to leave and not have to rush it, you know, to make sure I get everything done, put the trip information in the computer, all that stuff. And there's other trucks that are setting up with like doubles and whatnot. So a lot of times I'll be in front of what's going to be my front trailer, and I'll hang out and wait until the immediate trucks that are off to either side of me, especially the ones that are going to have to turn and go around and go, like, turn left and go in front of me to go their way out of the gate, because it's one way, you know, got to go one direction. I'll wait till that side is a little bit clear, so I'm not blocking anybody in, and then I'll go ahead and I'll start setting up my doubles. You know, playing it safe, taking it slow. You know. But so I did the one video, the third video, I guess, and got that one done, got the quiz completed, and then I went ahead and hooked up, and then before pulling that front trailer to go set up in front of the dolly in the rear trailer, I went ahead and started that fourth video, which thankfully was like 3.5 minutes too. So got that one all watched, got the quiz done, you know. So they go, all right, cool, knocked out the quiz, awesome. So, and now this is me trying to be proactive, actually get Real Talk Tuesday recorded, because I was like, I don't want to just, even though there's other episodes that are already scheduled, you know, they're gonna post. Got to get you know, this is something that I have to get done, you know. So, but that's where the inspiration for tonight's topic, you know, the whole working on your day off, where it's like it sucks because now it's like I don't really have a. And I tried to explain to him too. Because he's like, yeah, well, you know, with FedEx, the way things have been, you're probably there might be a day that you're not working this week. And I was like, yeah, but the problem with that is, on those days, I'm still watching my phone and I'm stressing out all day because I'm going, am I working? Like, it would be different if he knew, like, early in the day. Like if he knew at like 4 p.m. or something, like, hey, yeah, you're probably not running tonight. Like, I'll let you know if you are, but you're just playing for probably not doing anything. I'm like, all right, you know. Then I'd be at home going, I'm probably not working. He said that there's probably not any loads today. But usually, most of the time, the way things kind of go with my boss, which pisses me the hell off, there's no communication, you know, like, I know he's waiting to try to confirm with FedEx, and if they never call him, he never calls me. It's basically, I'm just sitting at home going, you know, by 10:30, I'm going, I guess I'm not working. You know, and I'll sometimes reach out like 9:30, 9:45, like, are we still waiting for confirmation from FedEx? And he goes, yes, sir. I'm like, all right. And then 10:30 or so rolls around, and I'm like, well, I guess by this point I'm probably not, working. But then basically you spend your whole day, you're still hanging out with the fam and doing stuff a little bit, remaining available in case it says, all right, headed now. Because I've gotten that call or that text too, like thinking I'm gonna go at like 9 or 10, and he messaged me at like 7:30. Oh, actually headed now. They got a load ready for you. Blah blah blah. But crap. I was like, well, I'm kind of out and about, or I was kind of eating dinner. Can I finish that and then head in? Yeah, that's fine. Like, all right. Because it's like, dude, like that's where shout out to my buddy Dave Goldberg. Who you kind of hear him. He's the one that you hear lately. You're probably gonna hear a lot of, for the most part, on our that new segment that you hear that I've got going on, the raw chat segments. Every other week, on average, that's what I'm shooting for, and but it depends. If I start getting a lot more people that want to actually, like other truckers or friends or whatever, whether it's they want to talk about their business or whatever, or talk about an important topic or whatever that they want to, then maybe the raw chat segment will become a lot more frequent. But right now I'm shooting for at least every other week, so that way, because I figure every 2 weeks is probably pretty easy to get at least one conversation recorded for that segment or whatever. But yeah, shout out to Dave, but and again, my mind just blanked. I'm like, man. Let's see. Yeah, apologies, y'all. I had one of those moments where it's like you're making a point, but then you kind of veer off a little bit because you're covering something else, but then all of a sudden you're like, crap, where was I going with that? What the hell? So yeah, honestly, I don't know where I was going with that. Oh well. So anyway, guys, I'm just trying to be proactive and be consistent. 'Cause that's what you gotta do. It's like what I always say. Keep pushing forward, keep believing. We only fail if we quit, give up, and walk away. So keep, just keep getting back up. As long as you keep getting back up and continuing to push forward and stuff, you haven't failed. I will say one other thing too, like for anybody who, if you're looking for a way to not just build wealth, but to compound it and grow, without having to recruit anybody, without having to really like advertise it. One of the new things I'm doing is literally, it is a Bitcoin mining opportunity where you don't have to do the work. Like they've got, the company's got people that actually do it, but you just basically either pay for a mining unit or you can buy shares of that unit. Like the units themselves are 1,000, but you can buy shares for like $100 a piece, and then you literally see like earnings daily in your account. So like on a $100 share, I'm noticing it's like 30 to 40 cents a day that I'm getting paid. Of course, then I had like a friend of mine, Ricco, who he was like, yeah, I'm gonna join you on that, but I just don't know when. And I'd helped him out with something. I guess one week he lost power and needed like $100. So I was like, yeah, sure, I can help you. No big deal. And then he was talking about when he's gonna pay me back, and I was like, dude, like, I have an idea. Like, instead of paying me back when you have that $100, instead of paying me back, why don't you just put it in there, like sign up with this mining opportunity that I'm involved in that I told you about, and just buy your first $100 share, and then you'll be off and rolling. And then whenever you have $100 of earnings in your account, you can go back in and use that $100, buy another share, and it'll make your daily earnings increase. And the more shares you get, the more units you get, the more you're gonna make every day. But start with that $100 instead of paying you back, just put it in there. And he's like, oh wow, oh, okay, cool. I really appreciate you, bro. Like, yeah, no worries, And so, one of the cool things about that, funny, it's like 70 miles an hour, I'm going 65, and the AI camera literally just says, slow down. Like, no. I understand if I'm going like 65 and a 55, but it's 70 miles an hour here, Joe. But so yeah, I thought, you know, having somebody sign up underneath me when they bought the $100 share, that I would see like a little bit of commission, and that would probably be, you know, I didn't know what to expect because I'm fairly new. I've only got one share myself right now. But when he got his share, I made probably like $2.50 or $3 in commission initially, and then I've noticed that because he's earning every day, I'm seeing ranking rewards, like a ranking rewards income or whatever. That I'm earning that daily on. I guess you earn that on anybody that's underneath you, like a daily thing. Like, so when he eventually gets to a mining unit, that ranking reward is gonna be higher. Like right now, I think it's almost like 2 cents a day or whatever that I'm seeing in Bitcoin, where I see the Bitcoin amount, and then I'm doing the math in my head. I'm like, okay, well that's like 2 or 3 cents per day I'm earning on from him. And so when he compounds and grows his account and is making more daily, I'll be making more daily off from him, on top of what I'm currently making off of my own stuff. So it's pretty awesome stuff. You know, and they never end. It's not like a staking thing where you stake for a certain amount of time and then you have to start again. Once you have either however many shares or however many actual full units, because there's no limit on how many you can get. Somebody can come in and buy 100 units if they want to, and spend 100 grand and have 100 full mining units going, and be earning every day on those. And basically that's why it's like I was following the guy that I joined with, and I've kind of been following him for a while, and then I finally, because I've been a part of other teams in the past that, we would jump into a business. Of course, everybody would follow them in there. I'd make a little bit, or everybody up top made stuff, and everybody at the bottom didn't make shit. And so, like, after being through the ringer quite a bit online, I'm very slow and cautious now. So I don't just jump in anything, and I don't just, I've got a guy that's trying to offer, like, he can sell me traffic, like clicks or whatever. Supposedly, according to him, all high quality clicks. I have a big network of people that I can send your opportunity to, and I can guarantee like this. But I'm like, yeah, but I've seen no evidence to back up that he's as good as he claims. So it's like I'm very hesitant. Like, if somebody's saying they can do something, but I've seen no testimonials, like anybody commenting on stuff they do, whatever. It's very hard for me now to be like, yeah, I'll give you a shot, even if it's only $50. Because I tried to talk him down, because he was like, oh, 125. Like, here's a like Easter special, 125 for 200 clicks, and blah blah blah. You want to take advantage of this today, Christopher? And I was like, yeah, probably not. I was like, I'm not feeling it. You know what they say, trust your gut, And so, like, usually your gut's not wrong. So if you have doubts about somebody because, nothing just doesn't quite add up, then listen to it, Hell, even with me, like, if anybody that's hearing these little promotions that I'm offering, if your gut tells you not to do it, go for it. Just listen to it. I'm not saying that's... I focus mainly on stuff that you don't have to recruit, and you don't have to build a team underneath you, whatever. And I do that deliberately because of the fact that I used to be a big recruiter, but I'm just not a huge fan anymore. Because it's a lot of work. Like, if you constantly have to go out there and get people to try to talk people into joining your team and trying to get them to give you a chance or whatever, I would rather focus on things that are eventually going to retire me, but not have to build a team, So anybody that comes in and gets at least one share, you literally don't have to do anything else after that point if you don't want to. You can literally just let that share eventually grow to where you have $100 in a commission in your wallet, in your account, and then you could literally go in there and buy another $100 share, and your daily earning is going to go up, and rinse and repeat. Just keep going in there from inside your account and reinvesting what you have, get another share, eventually get a full unit, which you'll make like between $5 and I believe it's like $5 and $30 a day at that point. I think that's of course I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I believe that's what I was told, like between 5 and 20 to 30 bucks a day or whatever. So, but the information is free, so if you want to check it out, go to passivebitcoin247.com and check it out. They got a couple videos on there. They even have videos, like a video showing you like anybody that actually decides to go through with it and actually create an account. They have a video that kind of walks you through how to get your deposit in and how to go about buying your first share or buying your first unit if you want to go for a full unit. So pretty awesome stuff. But I'm loving it. You know, I've been doing some posts lately. Kind of did a screenshot showing all the different, like showing my daily earnings, and even when it showed the ranking income daily, and I was like, I get paid that daily. So I messaged the guy that I joined, and I was like, so we get ranking rewards, not just once, but every day. And he was, yep, on anybody on your team, anybody below you. I'm like, wow, that's freaking awesome. He goes, yes, sir. I was like, man, I should have come in with you on this sooner. You know, I don't know why I waited so long, but I'm here now, and I'm actively working to build it, to spread the word about it, and to compound and grow and stuff with you. Because it looks like about one of the little graph or whatever he gave me. It kind of shows like you make this much on 1 unit, this much on 2 units, this much on 3 units. I think it shows like 25 units. Your yearly annual is roughly about 90K per year that you would make in mining rewards or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's pretty awesome, you know. So I've noticed that the income's about the same every day, even with Bitcoin going up and down. Like it dropped to like 75, or I think it was like 75,000, and then it went back up to like 90. And of course, like my daily earnings it fluctuates a little bit. Like it went from like 31 and 39, and then 27, and then 31 and 30, blah blah blah. It stays around that, you know. And now I'm getting the ranking income. It's like a couple cents every day or whatever on my one direct referral that I have so far that has one active share or whatever. And so I was like, that's pretty awesome, you know. But if you're looking for something passive that could eventually be a nice little side income without you having to recruit or even tell anybody about it, you don't really have to do that either. Passivebitcoin247.com. Obviously that link will be in the show notes as well, but aside from that, guys, I just want to say I appreciate you hanging out with me. I appreciate you being here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying I really hope you guys enjoy the stories that are coming up with. I'm trying to do my best, trying to do right by you, give you guys some good material and some good stories to listen to. And with those stories, also that means I'm putting together volume 2 of the Blog to Show short stories, the ones I'm going to publish. And then, of course, once that's completed, I'll be working on, I'll be starting on volume 3 for, then, it's all me trying to figure out how to go about getting these books published. And you guys can have physical copies. You guys can order on like Amazon or whatever. But anyway, you guys keep pushing forward, keep believing. Believe you can, believe you will, and you're already halfway there, and then you just have to go out there and do it. Right now, the best way to support the show, since I don't have an active, I guess I do have an active link, but I'd have to put it into the show notes because it's through where I host my podcast. But my current website, blogtoshow.com, is temporarily not active at the moment. I'm trying to figure out either how to go about restating that or figuring out if there's a way that I can, nab my domain that I have. If I can move that somewhere else and basically try to just do the website from scratch again, just kind of change it up a little bit. But if I think about it, I will try to put the actual support link that I do have through my hosting platform. I'll try to just put that link the direct link straight into the podcast notes. That way, you guys, if anybody that wants to support the show, you guys can. Because my buddy Dave, he, I guess he was gonna, for me trying to figure out how to get calls recorded, because that took me a while too. I was jumping through a bunch of hoops, going through a bunch of different apps, kept running into issues. Either it would record one side of the call but not the other side, or it would just not record anything. And I finally figured out a way to get calls recorded so we could do the raw chat episodes. Keep it real with you guys, like what I always try to do. But so anyway, you guys. Yeah, there goes the AI camera again, even though I'm like 300 or 400 feet behind the car from. Like, I can't even barely see the car up there. But keep doing what you gotta do, guys. Keep it real. Do what you gotta do. But as always, appreciate you. And I will talk to you guys on Friday for the next. Well, technically, I'm actually following this episode. You guys will. So I guess I'll talk to you soon on the raw chat episode, and then after that, I'll see you guys again on Friday for the next Story Time Friday. You guys have a good one, and we'll talk to you then.